Long ago, over hills and far away, across the seven skies, is a land full of crossroads in time. You have come here full of curiosity. Perhaps you are looking for something, but whether you know what you seek or not, the inn has appeared in your path. You have found a spark that has the potential to ignite a fire. Here, at this place where all roads meet and all stories find a home. Welcome to the Inn of Stormy Nights. Subscribe to never miss an episode and visit me, Innkeeper R, over on Twitch to join the day-to-day music and magic at the inn. Now, are you ready for another adventure? Welcome all of you to one of my first proper long lives in I don't even know how long. I was reflecting earlier this morning that I can't even remember the last time I had a proper life. And when I say proper life, that is me having a perspective that a proper life is very much an hour-long space that is formally set up, has a particular purpose, and it's, not just me popping on to channel spirit through my music, like I've been doing a lot of for, honestly, the past year, if not more than that. And so this is something I'm really, really excited about because it's kind of my first step into bridging everything that I am since I started feeling a little bit of a disconnect at the end of 2019, to be honest. Can you believe that? It's like now 2021, and back at the end of 2019, I was like, okay, I'm all of these different things, let's bring them together. So this is the start of that, and that's why today is focusing on joy. Especially the joy of working with spirit, because that's honestly at the heart of everything for me. No matter what it is that I am doing, whether it's speaking with people and holding space for them, or being there as an ear and a support and a guide, a coach, being there as a teacher, being there as a performer, whatever it is that I'm doing, the joy that I experience with spirit is the heart of everything. So I wanted to start my getting back into doing these lives here in the group from this space because of how much joy and the joy of working with spirit means to me, and why it is that I'm kind of back to where I was 2 years ago, but so much more fully myself and living in my power. And that is just one joy of working with spirit. So to ground us a little bit more than just the music that I opened everything with, or opened this space with, I wanted to just start off with speaking about where we're going to go today. And I wanted to share with you guys a little bit about my journey with joy since the end of 2019. And that's going to involve both some current things as well as things that I've pulled from
past experience that the more and more I've reflected and just given myself the space and time to just be, I've seen patterns come up. Side note, I love puzzles. So I'm not really surprised that there's like all these wonderful moments speckled through my life that just stand out, like interestingly shaped puzzle pieces that then come to form me. And you know, wouldn't be surprised if it's the same for all of you. If you reflect back on your life, as I know many of you have done and do all the time, there's so many wonderful pieces that build us into who we are now. And as well as talking about that, the really fun part is I wanted to share some of my experiences with spirit that made me really, really feel the joy of working with spirit. Because to cap all of this, I am a wonder seeker. I am absolutely a wonder seeker. That is why I have often in the past called myself an Imaginist instead of calling myself a pianist or a medium or a teacher or a coach. I've said I'm an Imaginist, and that's because I'm a wonder seeker. There are some people out there who seek answers and they seek mysteries and they seek to solve those mysteries and figure everything out and put them into nice, tidy, neat boxes and lists and charts. And we need people like that. Because then there's people like me where I just love to seek wonderful things just for the sake of wonder, just for the sake of being like, oh my gosh, that is beautiful. I love that. This fills me up. This gets me excited. Yes, this is awesome. You know, like that's the things that I seek and what drives everything I do and is honestly my barometer for living. If I have choices in front of me and one choice doesn't make me go, yes, this is exciting, this is unknown and like going on an adventure and who knows where it's going to end up, but this gets me excited, then I'm going to do that path. Whereas if I have another path, another choice, that's like, I am feeling like I'm having to do this based on like external expectations and voices and suggestions, and this needs to get done so that I can go from A to B, then I'm usually like, okay, nope, you know what? I'm not going to go in that direction. And maybe my wonder direction is going to be a long, windy, roundabout path, but I'm going to be living more fully into who I am if I go on that windy little path rather than the one that might be a straight A to B thing, which is actually why when I was in university and doing my second degree, instead of doing a library science degree, which honestly would have fit my introverted personality a lot more, I went into teaching instead, because teaching is constantly a journey of wonder and the unknown, and you are having to create things on your feet, be very present with whoever you're teaching, whether it's kids or adults or really, really young children. And so this brings me around to working with spirit. And I know in the spiritual community there's a lot of people who really value and who look for and who need the structure and the support of what's in retrograde right now? What zodiac sign are we in? What is the moon doing? Or what is the big event that's coming around the corner? For me, I honestly have enough imagination that all of those things would just send me off into crazy overdrive. Like complete crazy overdrive, to be honest, because as a child I was, as I've said so many times before, really, really connected with the fairies, and always running around outside talking to them, or sitting underneath their dwarf birch tree and hanging out with them, because that was actually a little fairy portal down in our backyard. Or at night when I'd go to bed, I was that little kid who'd be like looking under my bed or whispering into my closet and like talking with all of the beings that lived under my bed and in my closet, you know, whereas most other little kids would be like, oh my gosh, there's a monster under my bed. I'd be like looking over my bed and being like, hey, how are you doing today? Are you doing okay? I hope you're not feeling lonely. I wanted to chat with you because I don't want you to feel lonely. What do you like doing? What do you spend your day doing? And I'd like list off all these like crazy questions, just wanting to connect with like, you know, that childish imagination of the monsters under my bed or in my closet. And instead of being afraid, I was like wanting to make friends with them. And yeah, that's continued so much into the present. Because recently, you guys, I met a puka, which is super cool. Because they are very, very mischievous shapeshifters that show up pretty often in Irish folklore, causing a lot of trouble. They're very much these trickster sort of characters that are all over the map in Irish folklore in terms of the things that they cause and the things that they do that are a whole range of mischief and kind of sometimes are portrayed very spookily because they're shapeshifters of shadow, essentially. And I met one recently, and it was just like, it was an interesting experience of just even trying to pin this energy down, because at first the energy was really not wanting to be clear on exactly who they were, and they were wanting me to just guess and throw things out, and then they were shifting their shape. And anyway, I don't want to dive into this experience too much, but it was one of those experiences that, because I'm just so open to just connecting from a place of wonder and joy, that I got to meet this puka and learn a lot more about how the perception that we have of them, according to Irish folklore, is just a role that they played because of how we were perceiving them during those lower energetic times, and what we needed at the time as well, which is always such a reminder to me that the kind of energy we put out, the expectations we put out when it comes to working with spirit, that's what we end up getting back. And that's what's allowed me to be able to connect with like the Ogopogo, which is a lake serpent in the local lake here, which is a whole other wonderful story. But before I end up down those wandering paths, just to keep speaking to being a wonder seeker. When I was a teenager, and I was definitely losing my childhood connection with the fairies because, you know, teenage years are all over the place. And you have all these very 3D expectations that are put on you, and you're trying on a million different hats and things. And anyway, I used to get an absolute kick, like a comedic kick, out of watching this show called Ancient Aliens because it's the show that's just a bunch of academics who are trying to explain and answer all these mysteries. And I just found it hilarious because I was like, why are you trying to like nitpick and explain and answer all this stuff? This is just really cool things from thousands of years of like human history in the past, and it's fun having that mystery there and just looking at these pieces that still exist from thousands of years ago, and looking at these stories that still exist. And that was my version of comedy as a teenager, because I was just like, well, we don't need to explain it. These things don't need to mean anything. They're just there as representations of things that were in the past, and that there's always been magic around us, and that the universe is way bigger than we can even comprehend right now in the space and the time that we're currently living in. And it really, my like way of living as a wonder seeker can be best summarized as how magic tricks are never really as wonderful and as magical to witness once you know how they're done. Once you know all the steps that a magician is doing, or the things that they're setting up in order to do the magic trick, then you lose the magic and it's not there. And then suddenly you're like, oh. Like, to me, personally at least, it's not exciting to know the answer to life, universe, and everything. It's not exciting to me to know that there is something that's about to happen, because there's always things happening on so many different layers and levels, and every single one of us has a different meaning to life. We have each different answers to what life and the universe is. And the biggest lesson that I've learned from Spirit, especially in this past year, is that our perceptions of the right path versus the wrong path, or the right choice versus the wrong choice, is just our way of being in this 3D reality, and how we've all been raised to desire and to have this need to put things into boxes and to know exactly what is next, and then what's after that, and then what's after that, and how there is an element of that which absolutely we need when it comes to, like, you know, basic goal setting and moving ourselves forward on whatever path we're choosing. But ultimately, we can't make a wrong choice. The only thing that we can do is not make a choice and just keep ourselves static and on this plateau. And I really learned this just earlier this year when I was on that plateau, and I was in a really, really good situation where I was living right on the ocean, in a suite that was so cheap compared to how insanely expensive it is on Vancouver Island, and I was able to afford it on part-time work. I'd even just bought my first secondhand car ever, my first car period, just 6 months before, and everything was golden and perfect on paper, you know? All of those boxes were ticked, but I wasn't feeling joy. I wasn't feeling wonder. I wasn't getting excited about anything. I'd actually really stalled out on a lot of things, because that was still in the period of 2020 and early 2021 where I had kind of stepped back from our group here and doing much of anything. I wasn't really writing. I was getting back into playing piano, primarily for myself, really, and just through playing piano for myself, I was starting to find a little bit of joy again, and a little bit of that wonder and that excitement. But it wasn't until I had a wonderful new friend of mine basically asked me if I wanted to do this challenge just to have a little bit of fun and just to explore something totally new and toss things up that, everything did get totally tossed up. And I realized that I had been falling back into that habit that we all have of wanting to have things in boxes and wanting to know how things are going to be and expecting that spirit is going to tell us exactly what to do. And fun fact of what I've learned from spirit is they don't tell you what to do. They will give you guidance. They will give you support. But by and large, anytime I've tuned into spirit and I've asked them, should I do this or I do this, their answer is consistently somewhere and like somehow phrased around the idea of, well, what do you want to do? What gets you excited? Or what are you interested in? And every time I've asked them, but is that the wrong choice? Is this choice going to pull me backwards? Is this choice going to get me stuck? Is this choice going to sidetrack me? They're like, no, Alyssa, you can't make a wrong choice. You're making a choice. That's all we want you to do. Just make a choice, and we are here to support you. We're going to support you through absolutely everything that you do, they say, and it's like, oh, okay. Okay. And it's honestly a little bit terrifying. I'm sure some of you guys can totally relate to that, you know, just being told, oh, all right, that any choice I make is fine, and you guys are gonna hang out and be here and support me through whatever comes up on this path. Okay. Oh, and yet, that's honestly been also the greatest joy of working with spirit, is realizing that there is never anything wrong that we can do. And there is no time limit to things. Yes, we all are here in this current lifetime with something that we're here to be learning, but the only pressure that we're putting on ourselves is like just ourselves being like, ooh, we've got to learn it in this lifetime, and there's no such thing as time. So we can have other lifetimes to learn it. And that is a little bit terrifying, and there's a part of me that is very A-type personality that's like, oh boy, I need to make sure that I'm learning this and I'm getting the most out of this lifetime. But then Spirit will be like, you're holding yourself back and you're getting yourself stuck and you're sitting on a plateau again because you're getting so stuck up in, in your thoughts about doing the best thing and the right thing and the thing that's going to move you forward. And yeah, biggest lesson has been that when I'm in a space of joy and wonder, that's when things really, really start to move and they align, and I will come across things that don't necessarily work out, or things that I know are going to be a huge challenge and I have no idea how to solve the problem yet, but just being present with myself and just seeking that joy is the way to really, really be just in a flow. And that flow is not a straight river. It's a very windy one. But it is honestly the most fun. So what I wanted to share in this space too, like I was saying at the beginning, is just some experiences that I've had with Spirit that have really, really highlighted joy and wonder, and how much more impactful focusing on those experiences have been than trying to make myself into like this perfect high vibrational kind of being. There's no trying and no need to any of this. There's just being. And when you're just being in your joy, you're instantly already high vibrational. Like, for a little story, you guys, you know what my wonderfully sarcastic male guardian angel told me the other day when I was getting very, very frustrated, and I was like, this was like last week, and I was like, I don't know what I need to do. I'm trying to balance all these things. How do I get these things together? How can I balance all my hats so that I can support myself and so that I can give to others and not be left drained? And he just gave me an eye roll. Randolph always gives me eye rolls. Honestly, I think he does it because it makes me laugh, and I'm like, oh, look, I made you eye roll. Case in point right now, he's over there eye rolling at me for, talking about his eye roll. But see, it makes me laugh. And that's the wonderful thing about Spirit is that, they're not here to, like, be, like, all strict and, like, I can't even, like, word it, but that like idea of you gotta do this and this and this and this and this and this, and oh boy, you're getting off track. No, they're never anything like that. They just want us to be in our joy. So if that means eye rolling a lot, they're gonna do it. And so anyway, what Randolph told me when I was just getting really frustrated and I was just unleashing this rant, which I don't do very often too, because I try to really hold in all of those feelings that, we have a perception of positive feelings and negative feelings, and I was really trying to hold them all in, and then finally he was like, just give me everything you've got. And I was like, really? You want me to give you everything I've got right now? And so, I kind of unleashed just every single frustration that I had right in that moment. And and then by the end of it, I was laughing. And then he was like, that smile you're doing right now, that's all you need to do. Because one smile to one person, one smile just to the lake that you're looking at. Because I was sitting up on our window seat upstairs in the kitchen, where you can see the lake and stuff. And he was like, that brings light. That is keeping you right where you need to be. Just smile. And I was like, even as I'm like telling this right now, I'm kind of like, it's honestly a little bit mind-blowing. Again, you know, coming from somebody who is a very A-type personality, with a lot of academic degrees and musical degrees under my belt. I'm like, oh, really? Just smiling does everything I need to do? Okay. Okay. And yeah, so that's been one huge, wonderful current thing. And another thing that's a little bit more of a story is only about 2 months ago, when I was moving from Vancouver Island, and I've moved back home to my parents' house, where I've still got a couple siblings who are living at home too. And I made the move because I was not feeling joy and wonder on the island anymore. I was right on the beach, which had been a lifelong dream of mine. Which is another interesting side thing, is I'd achieved a dream that I'd had ever since I was really little, to live on the ocean. Because literally the ocean was like right there. I'd step out my door and boom, there's the ocean, there's the beach. And I wasn't even having to pay very much, but I wasn't in my joy. I was just being rather robotic. And so I realized, as beautiful and as much of a paradise Vancouver Island is, that I needed to move away from there and go back to my roots and just settle in here and heal to some of the things that I've got with my family, some of the things that I have with this location even, and get back into my wonder and joy space. And so anyway, I drove the Coquihalla for the first time, which is this one particular stretch of highway. Once you get off the ferry and you're in Vancouver, then driving to where my parents' house is about like a 5-hour drive from Vancouver. And the Coquihalla is kind of a big main stretch of it, way up through mountain passes. And that was honestly the most fun ever. And also, you know, a little bit nerve-wracking because I'd never done a huge trip like that, you know, driving myself. And I got to spend it with this group of fairies hanging out in my back seat who were constantly egging me on and egging on the car I was in. That my little car was definitely really weighed down with like a bunch of my stuff all in the back, and just trying to get it up the really, really steep hills. They'd be like, yeah, you can do it, you're the little engine that could, you're the little engine that could. And then whenever we'd get like up over one of the really, really big hills, and then get to the peak, I had the soundtrack from The Lord of the Rings playing, and they'd be like, it's Ringo South time, Ringo South time, which is one particular track from the Fellowship of the Ring, which is the moment where the Fellowship is like just coming up over this rise in the mountains, and they're coming up over that hill, and the music just explodes into this epic, like triumphant cadence. Oh, and so they had me playing that every single time I was like up on a hill, and it honestly made that like one of the most enjoyable experiences I have had, even though like there were nerves about doing that trip, and there were nerves because it was a smaller car, and it's a used car with some quirks to it, but you got fairies in the back egging you on and supporting you, and it was just oh, it was so much fun. And then, you know, coupled with the fact that then they were like periodically being like, look over there, and like making me really, really take in, because it's such a gorgeous drive, to be honest, once you get out of Vancouver, and like the towns that are just part of the Lower Mainland, and then you're on that stretch of the Coquihalla. It's just massive snow-capped glacial mountains and trees everywhere, and like turquoise rivers. It's gorgeous and majestic and amazing, and having the fairies in the back seat with like all the soundtracks and encouragement they were offering kept me so present for those 5 hours. And the 5 hours flew by, and it was like all of a sudden coming down the mountain into the valley, and then seeing the first of the lakes here just stretching out, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm home already? What? This is crazy. So yeah, just having spirit around me and being tuned into them, and well, also the fact that, you know, no matter where you're at in terms of connecting with spirit, if you just ask them just to hang out with you and be around you, they're gonna be around you. Like lately, fun fact, this is really crazy, Jesus has been popping in around me, probably because he hangs around my mum a lot, because my mum is quite connected with JC. I'm really not. I've, to be honest, had a lot of healing that I've had to do over the past couple of years when it comes to any of the Christ consciousness. And oh my gosh, he popped in just last week, not too long after Randolph had told me that just smiling was all I had to do. And he started singing this song called All Star by Smash Mouth, which it's in the first Shrek movie. That's where I first came across it as a little kid, and he started singing it, and I was like, but you're Jesus, why are you singing this song to me? What? Like, it was like, still I think about it, because again, I have had like a lot that I've had to really, really heal and kind of like just work on when it comes to the Christ consciousness. Oh, and he met me right with something that is so silly, and took me right back to, I don't know how old I was when Shrek came out. I was like, I don't know, maybe 8, 9, I'm not sure. I have no idea. I was a kid anyway when it came out, and I was super obsessed with that song, and I loved that song so much as a little kid. And he starts singing it now, and then periodically every couple days, it just pops in my head, and I'm like, really, JC? Really? Okay. I'm just gonna soak this song up, and just it just makes me laugh. And oh, it's it's totally opposite to like how I've perceived him in the past, especially because when I've tuned in to him in the past, or other friends of mine who are mediums have tuned into him in the past, he's generally been like, I don't have anything to say to you, Alyssa. You're good. And he'll just like shrug, kind of like pat me on the back sort of thing, and just go back to focusing on like whoever else is present. And I'm like, okay. I want to work on healing my connection with you though. And yeah, it's wonderfully started just by him showing up and just being so silly with that All-Star song. Oh, and that's honestly, again, just the greatest joy about working with spirit is when you really, really just open yourself up to not having any preconceived ideas or expectations about spirit. They show up in a way that is in alignment with you and is honestly just one of the most magical things. They show up with exactly what you need, usually when you don't even realize that you actually need it, because the fact that I'm sitting here and I'm talking about this experience that I've had with Jesus, that's huge. A couple of years ago, I was connecting with him kind of with other mediums, or, just tuning in on my own time, being like, okay, I need to work on this, I've got to work on this, I've got to heal this thing that I've got every time it comes to the Christ consciousness, because, you guys know me, I'm the fairy girl. Anything to do with elementals is just like, boom, super, super natural and in my vibe, and it's just been, a lot of things from past lifetimes that have had a little bit of this just like sandpaper feeling anytime I'd make myself connect with like the Christ consciousness. And I realized it was because I was having all of these preconceived ideas and expectations because of how everybody else connects with them. That was this very, very straight-laced, very steady, very grounded, very serious kind of energy. Like, anytime my mom talks about connecting with Jesus, it's very, very serious and steady and grounded, and I'm just like, and and it always kind of rubbed me a little bit off, and I was like, okay, I gotta work on this. Why is it like this? What's going on? And I realized that, one, it was like that because I kept trying to force it and kept trying to be like, okay, I've got to fix this. There's something off here. What's going on? And it was more about me just sitting back and just being open and being like, okay, I'm just gonna let go and recognize that, well, I've even been told that there's nothing that they need to support me on. Like, Jesus has told me so many times, you're good, I don't need to support you, that's not why I'm not around you, because you don't need me. And that too kind of frustrated me. And now I'm like, connecting with him so randomly lately, just because I've stepped away from that need to go and fix and practice and force a connection, and come at it instead from a place of joy and just pure silliness. Because, you know, when it comes to sticking songs in my head and making me laugh, I always attribute that to the elementals, especially the fairies. Because, oh my gosh, the number of times they hold dance parties around me. I've got a bit of a windowsill, just on the window in front of me, just kind of behind my desk here, where they consistently will have like a conga line all the time. I'm just like doing this conga line back and forth, singing whatever song they just want me to really, really listen to and just be with. And so it's always the fairies that I associate with wonder and joy. And yeah, it's been really wonderful to be like, oh, any energy can meet me where I'm at and who I am, so long as I'm just open to it happening when it's going to happen, and I'm not forcing it, and I'm releasing, any of those expectations, which is such a huge thing to do with spirit. You know, no matter how many years you are connected with spirit, there's always so many things that you're learning. So many things. And so, because I know I've been chatting now for just about a whole hour, I wanted to wrap like these couple stories up and these thoughts up just with another realization that when it comes to the joy of working with spirit, the moments that really, really stick with you, at least in my own personal experience, are never these huge, earth-shattering, like, moments that are aligned with, like, the Lionsgate energy, or happen when it's, like, a full moon, or, you know, any of those moments that people are tuning into and are seeking out, that are like the next big event. None of the moments that really, really stick with you, in my personal experience, have anything to do with those things. They never have anything to do with getting yourself into an optimal state of mind and perfectly aligned, because another fun fact that I've learned from spirit is that we're never out of alignment, just like we can never be on the wrong path. It's only our own perception that makes us believe that we're out of alignment, because we're holding to all these 3D ideas of what is perfect and what must be like the ideal high vibrational state. And yes, there's ways of being and thinking that we can put into certain boxes, but ultimately you're only out of alignment when you start thinking you're out of alignment. And even then, oh, as Randolph was telling me last week, he was like, you know, You can keep saying you're out of alignment, but I'm going to keep telling you that you are in alignment. So it's only you that's going to keep yourself stuck. See, there's that like phrasing again, of just like, it's us and our own perception that makes us feel stuck and like off and out of alignment. Spirit's just like, yeah, you're going. Kind of like with my road trip where it was just like, yeah, you're just you're the little engine that could. You can keep doing this. You can do this. You can do this. The fairies kept like chanting in the back. Just at one point, because again, I have a lot of stories and things that just make me laugh. They started chanting the just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, swimming, swimming thing that comes from Finding Nemo. Oh, so many things. And that honestly just, above all, kind of summarizes everything to do with working with spirit. And that it's just all these tiny moments throughout our day of, you know, getting eye rolls from my guardian angel, of having random songs constantly getting stuck in my head that then I notice and I'm like, you guys, I know, you know that I love music, but now I have to really sit and just be with that song to get it out of my head and to move forward onto the next thing. Or, you know, the random conga lines from the Fairies all the time, or having really magical, wonderful, and completely mischievous beings like the Puka popping in, or really mysterious beings like the Ogopogo, of which the Ogopogo is the one that has been named, but there are many of them that live in the Okanagan Lake here, which I was like, oh, that's awesome, and like are absolutely kind of multi-dimensional beings too. So there is so much out there that, you know, if we can imagine it and if we wonder it, it's out there because it's within us. And when it's within us, then it starts growing outside of us. Which, to really wrap this up, is the lesson that the Puka taught me recently, was just how the way that he was perceived, and how we've got all the stories about the Puka came from people's internal thoughts and fears and worries, that then is how things got projected externally and how things then began to look externally. And so when we are just keeping ourselves in that space of just being seekers of wonder, being those wonder seekers, and just being in joy, you know, with every little thing, whether it's like a favorite cup of tea, or it's a very silly song from our childhood popping up, or just getting a sense of, wow, there's some beings having a party, because I swear the fairies never stop partying around me. I'll be like trying to focus on stuff and can just sense that they're chattering and giggling and they're like dancing, and sometimes I'll get distracted and I'll like watch them, like right now. And yeah, it's those things that are really the most special and the most impactful, above all else. You can't We Will Rock You all the time, Madeline. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh. You know, I get a lot of Queen popping up all the time too. In fact, I've had all the way through this, you guys, just to keep you in the loop as to things that are going on around me while I'm doing a live. The Fairies have been singing I think it's the Queen with David Bowie song Under Pressure. That's been going on in my head. Oh, which, okay. Sorry. Just laughing about, they've just focused on the lyrics of just be love, be love, be love. Yeah, as they're just saying right now, we're making it too hard on ourselves. We don't need to make it hard. It's just be love, be a joy, have fun. That's all we need to do. Oh my gosh. And watch the things that, you know, we say and we name, because the second we put something out there, it's going to start growing, which is just something I've just said around my piano, my digital piano here. I name everything, to be honest. Holdover from childhood. Its name is Freddy. And I named my digital piano Freddy based off of Frederick Chopin. And they're like, well, you do realize because you keep calling your piano Freddy, that's why we keep giving you Queen songs. Oh, so hey guys, I've totally been like tapping into Freddy Mercury all the time just by putting that out there. Oh, Spirit's wonderful. And that's why, too, and just to really, really wrap things up, you guys, because I know I said like 5 minutes ago I was going to start wrapping up, that I'm so excited to be starting to do these lives again. I cannot predict or plan where they're going to go, what they're going to be about, what beings are going to pop in, because mostly today they've just kind of hung back and have been distracting me a bit. But what I can say is that there's going to be so much joy here. So much joy. And there's going to be tons of joy coming up, because honestly I am just exploding with excitement about it, that I, starting on October 1st, am going to be running my first ever mediumship course that I'm running. I am running totally me, with, you know, the help of all sorts of different beings. A mediumship course. I know some of you guys might have seen the event in the group. It's Foundations of Mediumship and Channeling Spirit. Like I said, it's starting on Halloween and it's going for a month. So it'll end on November 30th, and I've set it up because it's a month, something that primarily you'll be able to do at your own pace, so that you can be putting in however much you need at that time, and to support like those different needs. There's going to be live group support that's going to happen every week. I'm going to have the group itself, where you guys who have signed up already, you can bet that I'm going to be encouraging practice and teaming up and all of that happening outside of the formal live group support. And I'm also going to be doing one-on-one support with all of the students in it, so oh, I can't wait to work with you guys. Already got a whole bunch of you guys signed up, and I am so excited to be holding that space. I'm honestly at a point where I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to start it now with you guys, but I knew, listening to myself and my own joy, and also because the fairies were like, you know, it'd be really funny and fun if you started it on Halloween. I was like, okay, well, where I am feeling and what you guys are laughing about, let's start it then. So yeah, it'll start on October 1st, and you can sign up by going over to the events tab. It's an event in the group, so if you just click on Foundations, Mediumship and Channeling Spirit, you can see more specific details and the sign up link. Oh. So yeah, I am really, really just unbelievably so excited about it, you guys. It's gonna be so much fun. So much joy. Yeah. Glad you're agreeing, Madeline. Oh my gosh. So, on that note, follow your joy, you guys. Be joy, be love, be love, be love. If there is anything that any of us needs to do, it's just being present with whatever brings us joy. So much love and light to all of you. I was going to say much love and love. So much love. And until next time, may the wind be always at your back. Bye for now.